come in here with you for a minute, okay? Hi. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna close this too. Well, we don't have to close it with me in here, I guess. I could have waited on that part. All right. I cannot see at all what the stream is doing from here, actually. I'll just have to look on YouTube, the same as all of you tubers. I'm one of you now, just like you. Uh, Let me see here. Okay, I see which camera's on. I have no idea if you can hear me. Can I hear me? Oh God, I hate hearing myself. Okay, I guess I can. It's a little quiet, but there's also nothing I can do about that right here. So let me check Discord and see how you guys feel about it. Also, let's stop hearing my own echo in my own headphones. Okay. Where are we here? All right, we'll see. Somebody on Discord tell me if the sound is just completely horrible or if it's bearable. I know it's not great, but if you can deal with it, then I think we're good. Okay, good. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay. So I actually don't have that much to say now that we went through all that rigmarole. Oh, let me see if I can sit back here for a second. You guys can probably still hear me okay. I can be comfy. I don't have to worry about stepping on anything. Little Jumper is behind the camera, but I'm sure she will come out here in just a second. She's sniffing around. She's got such good. Her face is just adorable. I love little Jumper's face. So there's not too much news this week. I know I missed you guys last week, and those of you that aren't on Discord may not have gotten any sort of explanation or rationale. It may have just come and gone, and didn't even know. That's on me. That's my fault. I just missed the time. So this week I set an alarm on my watch for like 5 minutes before it was time for 5 minutes ago, actually, since it's now time. And that went off, and I was deep into something else, so I would have absolutely have missed this again if I hadn't set that alarm, but I did because I really wanted to talk to you guys. The new house is wonderful. I'm loving it here. The house is spectacular, of course. I am starting to discover all the little sort of like, there's all sorts of tiny little imperfections, dings and dents that a house gets over time that you don't notice as a guest maybe in a house, but you definitely notice if you live there. And I have now been living here long enough to have noticed some and to already had to repair a few things. In fact, I was just cleaning the kitchen earlier this morning. I was cleaning the kitchen, and I got into some parts of the stove that they had not cleaned. So that was a surprise because the whole house is so immaculate and perfect. I was just surprised that I could find a spot where they had not already cleaned it up for us. That was revelatory. I'm just talking. There is nothing for me to say about these guys. They still need adopters. Please apply. We'll talk about them in a second. What was I saying though about the house is so clean that I found a couple spots in the kitchen, especially in the stove, like under the burners and under the stove that hadn't been cleaned, and I was cleaning those out, and it occurred to me how even the spots of this house that they haven't specifically cleaned, probably haven't cleaned under the stove in a long time. But even that is relatively free of the sort of just buildup of linty dust mice and hair that we would get, that we got all the time at this Connecticut house. And probably in Illinois too. It's a long time back to try to remember, but just the sort of the like buildup of hair and lint balls that we are used to happening like overnight if we aren't constantly cleaning something. And under the stove, I'm looking, and it's clear it hasn't been cleaned in a long time, but it's clear like it's not even close to the amount of buildup that we would have under there. There's no hair to speak of at all. Just a little bit that's clearly blown in from our cat since we've been here. So that got me thinking. There was a point to this story, kind of, not an important point, but it got me thinking that with that and with the layout of the house and with almost the entire living space being on one floor, and I just went around and measured to double check all this. I think it's worth our time to get one of those robot vacuums in here and see if one of that, like having a robot vac, one of the modern, really good ones, makes a difference for keeping the pet dander and hair to a minimum. Because I could vacuum every single day and maybe keep up with it, but that's still a lot of work. Where if you have one of those things going all the time, it at least keeps things to a minimum, and maybe I only have to vacuum every couple few days. So yeah. Anyway, I was shopping for those this morning too. That's actually what I was just doing. I was researching to find out which ones sort of suit my bizarre qualifications, and I found one that I'm pretty sure we're going to do. So excited about that. That's what I was doing when the alarm went off to come in here. Um, what else can I tell you? It's mostly stuff about the house. Obviously, we just moved in. We've been here for what, 2 weeks now, almost, or at least two mailbags now. And basically everything I'm doing is still focused on the move in the house and trying to figure out what's what and get everything sorted. There's still so much of it to do. But it's been fun. Yeah, I enjoy every minute of it. This is really a lot of fun for me, to get to sort of make these plans and change things around and set up a house to be the way that you want it. It's great fun. Really enjoying that. You may have heard I bought a little cart to put the cameras on. I set everything that's set up over there right now. The camera. Hi everybody, all of you set up over there right now on that end of the room are in a wicker box that you would recognize from the old stream if you saw it. It's very familiar. The same boxes we've always used. And I set it up with a laptop and everything right in there, with the cameras connected to that. These are not wireless cameras. We've never used wireless cameras. So everything is set up in that wicker box to be like a complete portable solution to make these cameras go onto our wireless network and go onto the internet and to all of you. And it's all self-contained in that one little wicker box. With the plan being, I went online and bought a little cart that I can wheel around the house. And I bought a cart I picked because I can have the cameras for KA on the cart, and it's got a bunch of places where I can like attach little cameras to be on the cart, and it's got a handle that stands up, and it's got a special little latch on the handle that makes it stand up straight and stay there. So I could put a camera up on top of that, and it would hold a camera up higher, which is going to be really nice. So I think that's the way we're going to do things for a while. I'm going to put everything that's in the box into the cart. We're going to have a cart. We can wheel it out of here when these kids go out, or when we want to, hang out in the living room with you guys or something. Take it right out there, have it in the living room. Bring it back in here when we're done. Easy peasy. I don't think that's in the long run. We'll probably get back to something like what we had in Connecticut, but in the short term, I think that's going to be a really fun solution. That will actually probably let us do a few things that we couldn't do before. For instance, I can't imagine taking the cats outside right now, but maybe if we got something going out there, we could easily take it outside, or over to the annex. Not that I think we're going to do that with the kittens anytime soon, but when we eventually do, we're already set up for it pretty nicely, so that's fun. Just trying to think if there's anything else I should mention, because I'm definitely not mentioning anything important today. I guess the only big thing is we've got to get these two kids adopted. So first off, we've got to get these two adopted. That's like the number one thing that is, between, I guess, me and the future of Kitten Academy. Getting these two kids out the door, I think, is what sort of has to happen first. Or at least have to know that their adopters are lined up and have their adoption dates. They don't have to actually be out the door. But once I know we've got their adopters, then I can really put my full energy into bringing in a new mom cat, and making that happen. But until I know I've got adopters for both these guys, we're going to wait on. I'm not going to put too much energy into it. However, for those of you that are following what it takes to get a mom cat in here, I think I already told you all that the city that we live in has regulations that mean we couldn't even have the cats that we have here right now. But that before we moved in, the week before we moved in, I went down to City Hall, I put in an application, and I got a special exemption that allows us to have extra cats because we're fostering. Um, so we've got that out of the way, which is why we could bring these two back in, even though we had given them over to Jaws. The thing that allowed us to bring them back to Kitten Academy, to make that decision to bring them back, was that we got that paperwork through. And I'm really glad that we did. By the way, it makes me feel a lot better to see them here than the fact that they hadn't yet found a real foster for them yet. So they were at the shelter, and the shelter is a great shelter, but it's still a shelter. So I feel better having them here for that. So I was saying, I think they need to get adopted before I can go all in. I told you I got the permit that allows us to have extra cats, so that's out of the way. Legally, we're all in the clear. And I had been talking to a couple of shelters I've tried to communicate with now. I think I've sent emails to two or three specifically in the area, trying to sort of solicit them to say, hey, how would you like to work with us? And I think realistically, I think any shelter that understands sort of the proposition that I'm making would be thrilled to work with us. But I'm not always good at explaining it, and people aren't always good at getting it. And maybe I sound scammy sometimes. I could believe that too. I mean, how often do you get somebody who comes into your org and is like, yeah, we want to help you foster kittens, the thing that you do, and we want to pay for it all ourselves. So there's nothing, no cost to you, and you don't hear that sort of proposition too often without us asking for all that much back. Just somebody to process applications, somebody to find us mom cats, somebody to fall back on in times of need, which have been pretty seldom because we've got all of you, and I'm so grateful for that. I really am. Um, so I've talked to three of them so far, and the first one I think I mentioned already to you guys that I think I scared them off a little bit. I sent them an email basically saying I want to be a foster, and they said, great, we need fosters. And I said, okay, but I've been a foster for a long time. We do this YouTube thing, and I can definitely bring a lot of benefit to you, but there's a few things I have to ask. And I said, when I say a few things I have to ask, again, it's stuff like having them process the applications, having them find us mom cats, um, allowing us to pay the vet bills and to choose when the cats go to the vet. We've worked with shelters in the past that don't allow us to choose when to take them to the vet. We have to get their permission first, and then don't allow us to go to any vet we want. We have to go to their vet, and don't allow us to pay the bills either, which I guess is a nice thing. But sticking to those rules so rigorously that someone who wants to pay the bills and take them to a good vet isn't allowed to do that is a little bit too rule centric. And that was their issue throughout. We had other issues with them too that were all just, they had a set of rules. They were very well set up. I mean, it was a great shelter that we were working with as far as being set up to be able to bring in fosters, get kittens fostered, and get the kittens adopted out. They had the paperwork. They had a big rule book. It was the best setup. It was like it could have been a franchise restaurant, like with the paperwork and the setup. It was brilliant. They really had it down to a science. But much like working at a franchise restaurant, there was just no wiggle room. There was no room for creativity or anything. You make the hamburger exactly like this. The rule book says this is how the hamburger's made. That's how the hamburger's made. That's what we do here. We make the McDonald's hamburger. And I wanted to do something other than that. So, we're a little bit more of, I don't know, at the very least, we're a little bit more of a mom and pop sit down restaurant than a McDonald's, I hope. So, where was I going with this? Oh my goodness. Am I hungry for breakfast? I didn't eat yet, I guess. Um, I think I was telling the story of how the first shelter, I think, when I wrote back to them and said, look, we want to be able to pay our own vet bills, and I kind of started to sound like a prima donna, like maybe I was a little more trouble than I was worth, and that's fine. They kind of were like, you know what, maybe you're doing your own thing. All right, well maybe I am. But, at this point, I'm just trying to find the right one. I think the second one I just didn't hear anything back, and they weren't that interesting to me in the first place. So or someone had told me not to go with them in the meantime while I was waiting, so I just ghosted them. They didn't write me back anyway, so it was mutual, I guess. And then the third one that I'd written to, I actually got a lot of recommendations for this one, but And I would say the name of it, but I don't want everybody to try to get in there and influence it too much. I'd hate to, especially because it might end up in another situation where I seem, like super overwhelming to them for no reason. But the third one then that I've talked to is one that actually I've had quite a few people recommend. Say, I've nobody has said I've worked with them and they've been great, but several people have been like, "Oh, I adopted from them," or "I had a friend adopt with them," or maybe I had a friend that worked for them or something, and they've all said just good things. So I filled out their application on their website to be a regular old foster, just like everybody does. And then I've sent them an email to their contact email saying, "Hey, I just filled out the application. Here's who I am. Here's what we're about." Nothing. Silence. This was actually almost a month ago, I think. And I sat on it for a while because we were busy with some other stuff. But just the other day, I got around. It might have even just been yesterday. I don't know. Time is confusing concept. Anyway, I will say yesterday, actually, I got around to calling their phone number, their listed phone number, where I just had to leave a message, which I did, basically to the effect of, "Hey, I put in an app, I put in an email. I'm going to send you another email. Just get back to me if you can." And that's what I did. I sent another email. I left him a voicemail. That was yesterday, and still, I'm saying that was yesterday. It could have been the day before. Still nothing back. I would have expected to hear from somebody by now with that sort of level of desperation. Especially, well, I don't know. I guess they have adoption events, so they must sort of get together every Saturday or Sunday. I remember it was a weekend day, so if I haven't heard anything by Monday, then I'm going to have to call it and move on to the next option, I think. My thought being that I might hear from them this weekend, maybe when they get together for the adoption event, they go through their voicemails or something. Who knows? It's fine. So, yeah, that would leave me with next week then starting to find someplace new. I feel like that seems sort of likely. But even so, we've got time because I don't have to really sort of rush to get a mom cat in here until we've got these two. At least we know where they're going, you know. And that's it in a nutshell. That is the plan, the basic plan. Oh, House and Kitten Academy related together. The contractor that the previous owner used for everything in this house, including this room, as a matter of fact, and the bathroom that's right next to it. He's very proud of that. Came by to do some work. There was a leak in the annex building that happened before we closed the sale on the house. It happened while Roy was still the owner of the house, and he discovered it. I don't know if I've used his name before. The previous owner's name was Roy. It's easier to say Roy than just keep calling him the previous owner. So there was a leak over in the annex that Roy had discovered while he still owned the house. And even though the sale was finalized and everything was checked off the list and everything was done, and he didn't have to do a single thing about it, he called up his contractor and scheduled to have, or arranged, not scheduled, arranged to have his favorite contractor that always works on the house come out, fix the leak in the annex, and he would pay for it. His, sort of free of charge to us, just something he was just going to take care of it. And it was really nice because it was above and beyond. So it took a little bit longer than anticipated, but his contractor finally found time to come over and do that job. And so he stopped by, took care of the leak in the annex on Roy's dime. Fantastic. And while he was here, told me that he was the one that did the entire bathroom next door, and he's very proud of it. And he should be. It's good work. It's really good work. It's very nice. And Roy has told me a couple times that his realtor did, or anyway, I've heard a few times that this guy's the contractor that has been used on this house for a long time. He is just knows, he's done everything to the house. This is a house that he knows he's comfortable with working with him. So I want to stick with it, obviously. So he turns up to do the job, and real nice guy. He looks like a thinner version of Mark Hamill. He really does. I mean, he's got some strong Mark Hamill vibes. Like Mark Hamill today, not like young Luke Skywalker or something, but like Mark Hamill with the beard and the whole thing going on. Strong vibes of that sort of thing. Um, but real thin. So anyway, nice guy, real friendly, upbeat, positive. I had a good time talking to him, and he fixed the leak. And he quoted us. The whole point of bringing this up was that he quoted us, or is arranging to quote us on fixing up the kitchenette that's in the basement. That second kitchen I've talked about in this house that it was on the stream for a long time. We had a camera that was the first camera here was just pointing at it for a while. That kitchenette doesn't really have a reason to be here. It makes great storage. The cabinetry in it is wonderful, but it's a small house. There's no reason for two kitchens. You can just walk right upstairs if you need a kitchen. Because of that, DJ and the DJ's idea though was to take it and convert it into the Kitten Academy room, which is what we're going to do. So to do that, to make that kitchenette into the Kitten Academy room, we're going to have a wall and a door where right now it's just open to the basement. And to get the wall and the door in there, we've got to take at least part of the really nice cabinetry away, just a small part. It's good. Um, in fact, it almost looks like a part that might have been added afterwards as an afterthought. So anyway, we're going to take that part off, and we're not even going to get rid of it because I hate to do anything to this house that's going to be irreversible in a sense. This would be irreversible, but I'm not taking much away from it because we're going to take the cabinets that we're removing and just move them someplace else. Okay. And we're doing that because once we've got those cabinets out of the way, we can build a wall that closes off the kitchenette from the rest of the basement. So it's its own room. And in that section of wall that has to be built, we'll put a little door. And because that wall will be up against the counter, there's a countertop in the kitchenette, obviously. When we remove the counters that I'm talking about, that when we remove the cupboards that need to be removed, part of that countertop is going to go away, but part of it will still be right there, and the wall that we're going to put in will come in right along that counter. So the counter will be right up against the wall, the new wall with the door next to it. And my thought was, if you've got the counter right up against the wall anyway, and we're not going to take any of the kitchen stuff out. That's all going to stay. It's going to be the kittenette, not a name I thought of. I heard it. I don't remember who I heard it from. I think I heard it from DJ, but I actually think it came from Discord. I'm not sure. I'm not going to give credit to anybody. Whoever's on Discord, take credit for it. Anyway, kittenette. So my thought was, if you've got the wall and the counter right there already, then why not put one of those little kitchen pass-through windows that you see above the counter right there, so that you can still open a window and have access then to the basement if you decided to use the kitchen as a kitchen, and you were, say, serving something, or you wanted to, be able to give drinks to somebody in the basement still. You could have the little serving window to do that at, and we could keep it closed most of the time. It might be a fun way to play with kittens, or to let the kittens run out into the basement once in a while, keep the door closed, or to limit it so that the faculty and mom cat can get in and out by jumping up on the counter when the kittens are still too small to do it. All that could be fun. So that's the idea, basically. There's the section where it opens into the basement right now. There's a counter right there. Take half of that counter that extends into the basement away and move it elsewhere into the kitchen. Put a wall right where that counter is, and in that wall, a door and probably a window over the countertop. And then that's the new Kitten Academy room, and that's where we have all of our mom cats, and that's where they have their little kittens. And it'll be really convenient because there's a sink right in the room. There's a range in the room. I don't know what that would be useful for. There's a microwave that comes in, useful quite often already. And there's a mini fridge, too, which is great for meds or just keeping sodas in. So it's actually a really cool room to have for Kitten Academy without trying to convert it from being a kitchen. And there's tons of storage. The cabinetry's great. It's going to be fantastic. So Mark Hamill came in and took a look at it, and he heard the plan. He's like, yep, makes sense. I get it. We can do all that. And he took a bunch of measurements, and he said, all right, I'll get back to you with a quote. So that's where we are on that. He's going to get back to us with a quote. Of course, I'm probably going to go with, if it's reasonable, I'm going to go with probably whatever he offers, since he's the one that knows the house and has done lots of work here, and I know he's good. So not much reason in soliciting a bunch of quotes unless it just comes out, wildly unexpected. It's not actually that big a job either. I mean, it's not one day's work, but it's except for the finishing is always what takes the longest on that kind of stuff. I mean, finishing, you know, you're gonna have to paint the wall, and there's gonna have to be some trim to make it look nice, and all that kind of stuff. But except for that, it's probably not a week. You know, I don't think so. Um, okay. Okay. So we talked about these kids desperately need adopters, and you guys know where to apply. They're both really good kids. Oh my gosh, I should have spent some of this wild ramble actually telling you about them, but I've told you about them a million times. All I have to say is that the longer that they've been here, the more they are perfect cats for anybody. The more that they've been socialized and really sort of come out a little bit. Even Cardigan here, I was a little worried about Cardigan at first when she first came to us. She was so shy. I thought that she might be trouble, you know, getting to be friends with anybody, but she's not shy at all anymore. I mean, I'm sure she'd still be scared if some noise happened or someone came into the house, you know, that she didn't know, of course. But she's not shy at all around us. She's the ultimate lap cat, just like her mom. Kate was all about snuggles and just couldn't ever get enough. And Cardigan's the same way now. She's going to grow up to be exactly like her mom, just the biggest, snuggliest lap cat you've ever had. You know, likes to climb on you and sort of rub up in your face and roll around on your lap and just get petted forever. Fantastic. So I keep doing this because she's sitting right here, but it's around the corner. I know you can't see it. But she's been sitting right here looking at me the whole time. And then obviously Jumper is a lot more active, also a little more scaredy. I know she hides in here all the time. She does not hide when she's out of the room. She's not scared that way. I think she just likes to be snuggled up in a space, really. She's super active. She's the one that's a little bit more adventurous. She's going to be the one that's she's tried to climb the curtains a few times. We trimmed her nails, so she can't really do that. That doesn't stop her from sort of acting like she wants to once in a while. And she's just got the adorable face with those big owl eyes. And she does like to snuggle, but so I've been bringing them into my office quite a bit lately. It's hard to get a good camera angle in there for you guys, but just to sort of give you a flavor of who they are, they both love to hang out with me. But Cardigan is the one that's going to be in my lap and sort of like snuggling and hanging out in my lap while I'm sitting there at my desk at my computer. Whereas Jumper likes to be on the desk, like right almost on my keyboard. She's actually, as far as like desk cats go, somehow she gets it all exactly right. She doesn't want to lay on the keyboard. She doesn't try to lay on my mouse. It's just right next to him. And then she loves to watch things move on the screen, like the mouse pointer. Or I've been playing a little bit of RimWorld lately, which is just a game that has real flat, like two-dimensional graphics and simple things moving around the screen in simple ways, like these simple shapes that move around the screen in simple ways. And she loves it. She just loves this game. She will watch it just enraptured. And the cool thing is she doesn't try, like a lot of cats would just get frantic, like trying to catch things on the screen. Every now and then she'll get up and be like, oh, I'm going to bat at it. But not even a lot. Like she'll just kind of tap at it once and be like, okay, I'm going to sit back down and just keep watching. So as far as desk cats go, Jumper could not beat it. But they're both just wonderful. They're still both kittens. You can tell they love to play, but they're already both finding ways to enjoy like their snuggle time too. So just perfect little adolescent cats at this point. Highly recommend. Two thumbs up. Good cats for basically anybody. If you have a cat already, they would be good together too. But just together is the same thing I was about to say. Is that if you have a cat already, Cardigan probably would need an adjustment period, but gets along fine with everybody. Never seen her have much of an issue with another cat after they get to know each other. Um, so I wouldn't be concerned about Cardigan at all. Jumper, on the other hand, she does get along with everybody, but she's got a very punchy style where she will just randomly smack another cat once in a while to sort of show them who's boss or to try to play with them, and she's just not good at it. I don't know. Every now and then, though, she's just going to sort of hit them like she's trying to establish this dominance. Um, and that's probably going to continue for her. And fortunately, Cardigan, when she does it to Cardigan, Cardigan seems to put up with it pretty well, and I think we'll probably put up with it well enough forever because Jumper isn't too serious about that aggression sort of streak tendency. It's not even an aggressive tendency because she doesn't pursue it. It's usually just one hit and then she's done. Um, but she does have that in her, and she's fast. Another thing that Jumper does that I find adorable, but is another thing about her personality that you don't get from Cardigan or other kittens all the time. She loves people food. Jumper loves people food. She's discovered that people food is wonderful, and so whenever I have food, she wants to get right in there and see it and figure out what it is. And if she can't put her face in it, she gets grabby, where she'll try to grab some with her paws and take it. And every now and then, she'll try the slow paw, but generally she is the lightning paws. Like she will have her hand in there and back so fast you hardly see it coming. And so most of the time she just smacks the food, like she's just gonna smack that chicken, like bam, oh, just gonna hit it. And it's funny. It's really funny. But what she's really trying to do is, like, I think, grab it. And sometimes she does. Sometimes she'll manage to grab like an entire something off of your plate at lightning speed, and when she succeeds, she knows she's got away with something, and she will put it, grab it in her mouth, and just take off, which is really funny too. She's just hilarious. She loves it, of course, when we give her some food. So that's fantastic. She's big into people food. Um, Easy to please that way, aren't you? Yes, I'm talking about you. You're right here. You're right here. Can I pick you up? What are you gonna do if I pick you up? Oh, she does love to be snuggled, but sometimes it kind of has to be on her terms. If I hold her like a baby, she really doesn't like it, and she'll put up with it as long as I'm very actively like petting her or holding her that way, like kind of got my hands in a way to sort of enforce it a little bit, like to be like, I want you to stay here. She'll put up with it, but the minute she thinks I'm not paying attention, she kicks so hard and just flies out of my arms if I hold her like a little baby. If I don't hold her like a baby, if I let her sit like this, a lot of times she'll just purr, purr, purr. Loves being petted and scratched like I'm doing right now. She's purring right now. Oh, but now she's up and she wants to play hitting, as I was talking about. You saw that. And just hitting a little bit and then walking away. She's like, okay, well, she didn't engage with my play, so I'm going to go. That's clearly play. I think that time Cardi got it. Sometimes it's a little more violent than that. So anyway, I think you guys get it. I'm just at this point, I'm just talking. So I'm going to go get back to my stuff. Wow, half an hour of just pointless rambles. I did get some news out for you guys. I doubt I can even recap it all successfully, but I did. I talked about the new room. I talked about the new camera. I talked about needing to get these kids adopted. I talked about trying to find a shelter. I talked about when we would get a mom cat in here. So I think we did. I think we did pretty well. Yeah, I think we did okay. I hope you guys feel like we did okay. I've been missing talking to you, so that's probably why I had a half an hour worth of stuff to say. I hope to get everything into a more stable state soon. I'm not going to say any dates because every day I've been like, that's what I'm going to do today. Things are going to be up and running today. And every day it's like, well, I got distracted by some project. Every single thing that I start to do here is just a cascade of projects, like where I end up a dozen things away. You just pile things on this. It's like Hal and the light bulb. You guys don't. Some of you know what I'm referring to with Hal and the light bulb. I'm not going to explain it. I've talked long enough. But just everything I set out to do first thing in the morning, I think this will be easy. Turns out like, oh, it's got these 3 subtasks, and the first subtask of that has its own 3 subtasks, and the first of that has its own 3. And so by the time the end of the day comes, I've finished one thing that's way out here when I set out to finish this thing all the way over here. And it seems like they're not even connected. Um, that's been my everyday for the last 2 weeks. And I love it. It's not a complaint, but it's more like my explanation for why it's taken so long to get the stream into a more stable state. It did just come in yesterday with a better antenna on the Wi-Fi, so hopefully that means that the Wi-Fi's been working a little better since yesterday, and the stream's a little bit better since yesterday. I hope. Every time I look at it, it looks pretty good. All right, you're right back in your spot, huh? You like this thing. Can I put this out where everybody can see you sit on it? Is this what you like to sit on? Can I just pull it out here? Let's do that. And then I'll go. Thanks, everybody. I know, again, in the long list of things that I know aren't quite good, but we're working on the sound. I know we'll get the microphone back. It did. I know for sure it got packed. I feel like I've even seen it since we've been here, but I couldn't tell you where it is or find it if I needed to right now, which is why we're not using it this minute. But it'll turn up. We'll get everything together in due time. You know, soon enough. All right, I'm going to leave you with these kids. You're in charge. Listen to what they say. All right, you kittens have to do whatever they do.